Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Fersada Sajiran, the owner of this YouTube channel. It's about 3 months into the pandemic. We are now in June of 2020. Accordingly, we have completed level 5 levels of the Jumanji 2020 experience. Uh, this channel, it's a personal channel, and hopefully it will grow, but more of like the I'm always saying in the previous videos. I'm looking forward. The main goal for now of this channel is to have something to look back, to reflect. I'm treating it as a personal blog. So for those who don't know me and for those who just came across this channel, I'm a general practitioner in a rural area here in Zamboanga del Norte, Philippines, and I'm working in a hospital. It's a primary health facility. So again, it's just I'm trying, since I'm just starting. The video is for initially are still raw. I'm just using my smartphone to record this, and it's also my goal as a part of my value is to put lesser time on, I consider it trivial things. If I would spend much time in producing videos that is um, highly technical in editing, but then again providing lesser content. So right now, initially, I'm just starting and I'm treating this blog not only for fun, but again raw videos for something to reflect back when somewhere in the future I would love to reflect on the things that I did, the things that I have produced, and the contents that I have shared. So the topic for this video, oops, for today is regarding the topic for this video is because last time I have created a video for guidelines that I have compiled all throughout my life for the past 32 years um, since the time I'm recording this video. So I have Codigo here for my talk. So yeah, so those guidelines I would love to talk about the values that I have developed all throughout my life, my way of guiding my life, and expound a little bit more about them, so that I could share how I live my life and could provide some insights um, to the viewers. Hopefully, there will be a lot of viewers someday, and again to remind myself when I look back to these videos in the future. So I'll particularly I'm gonna talk about my first value, which is the emphasis on punctuality, becoming early. This to include my habit of waking up as early as possible. It depends on the call for duty, but as much as possible, every day of my life, whether there is work or none, I would, as much as possible, wake up early. But considering that I have had um, a complete or enough sleep, so part of later I would discuss about this about these values is the conflicting challenge with regards to my value also to prioritize good sleep or good quality sleep. So this experience that I have with regards to punctuality and even my other values, all of these are based on experience, which I would talk detail by detail later, and also based on the self-help books that I have read. Particular, I have listed here the 16 lessons by Napoleon Hill. I don't know which lesson but in particular, but it's to sum up that I have come up with this value of being punctual because of these books, and one of these is the also the Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, the Atomic Habits by James Clear. Honestly, I haven't read the book yet, but watching some productivity videos in YouTube regarding this topic, I have had some insights on what atomic habits mean, and also the I forgot who is the author, the compounding effects. Also, then the productivity project by Chris Bailey. Actually, Chris Bailey. Initially, when I had um, listened to the audiobooks of the productivity project, I have came across this realization that despite all the advices from self-help books, it will always come up to you as a person, um, what would work best for you. So I have had done also some experiments to know what worked best for me. As individuals, we have different priorities. We have even different jobs. Like for example, I'm a physician. We have a different working situation when how the how the situation demands us. So of course, Mastery by Robert Greene. Yeah. And also based some YouTube channels that I am subscribed in, like the channel of Thomas Frank and Matt D. Avila. I don't know how to pronounce it, but he is the one with focusing on lifestyle advice and also more focus on the minimalism lifestyle. Also the improvement pill channel. Yeah. So those are the my influences for these values that I have acquired. Next is, so punctuality. In other words, showing up early. So this includes also if you want to show up early for work and for any events or to a meeting to someone, you need to be punctual. So this also includes the habit of waking up early and preparing early, because yes, all the values that I have are interconnected. So what are the advantages? So a lot of the books that I have read regarding self help, regarding punctuality, you could accomplish a lot. You have this an advantage of time. Think about it. Literally, when you wake up, um, 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the AM, compared to someone who wakes up 8 o'clock, those 2 hours you could accomplish. You could have a head start in accomplishing things. Next is most of the top self-help books regarding the topic of um, punctuality um, emphasize this uh, having the head start within a world where in a time where the world has less distraction could offer to offer to you. So imagine everyone around you is still asleep and you are awake, and you try to read books if you are a student, or you try to read books to exercise earlier, to prepare for what is coming, especially during the meetings, to meditate. There are a lot of things that you could do when you are punctual and you wake up early. Next is the psychological advantages. I am a person throughout life. I have this idea that the most valuable asset that you have is your time. So, next is also the golden rule that what you want others to do to you, you should do it also. Do unto others what you want others to do unto you. So, since I value time, I would also love to value the time of other people. So, if ever we need to conduct meetings, as I need to be present earlier, so we could start earlier, um, to value the time of my superiors or even my subordinate, because each of us, we have also families and other important things that we prioritize, rather other than our profession or work. So we need to think, always put in mind that we need to value the time of others as we value our own time. So there's there's also this psychological advantage, because when you show to the people that you value their time, it shows how genuine you are, how good you are, how committed you are, how you are as a person that you can trust to. Like, for example, if you go in for a business proposal, a business meeting, if you go early, you will the image that you would project to the one you that you will meet up with will also be good because you are so committed, you came there as early as possible, and again, you don't waste their time. Next is some other uh, what we call this obvious reasons, like for example, going to work. If you try to be punctual, especially my work as a doctor back in my hometown in Zamboanga, if you go on a duty and you would not be punctual enough, you most likely be caught up in the traffic jam. So it's still a compounding effect. Part of this topic about being punctual is taking the advantage of the things that is easier to accomplish at the early part of the day. Less traffic, less sunlight. It's not a hassle to go, um, and other other obvious reasons of being early. If, for example, you have something that you have forgotten or you have not, this would be helpful if you are a student. For example, you have completely forgotten that you have an assignment. So being there 1 hour earlier, you could still at least do the as a student do your homework. And yes, there is I'm not saying that you do your homework work at school, but there is this at least having the advantage of saving yourself, um, although the quality is not that good when you did your homework at home compared to doing it at the early hours of the day. But it's still an example because with going there earlier to class would give you that fair advantage. So by experience throughout time, how I develop my value for punctuality. Back when I was in kindergarten, my parents have enrolled me for the morning class. So I was literally psychologically trained to wake up early to go to school early, because I don't know if this is true for other countries, other places, but in our country, in our hometown, kindergarten, you have this option to be in the morning class or in the afternoon class. My mother put me in the morning class, so literally as early as 4 years old, 5 years old, I wake up at 7 o'clock or even 6 o'clock to prepare for school at early age. Next is back in grade school, still in our hometown. I'm doing this. I'm relating my experience back in childhood. Previously, during my younger years, classes really start at 7 o'clock or 7:30. So technically, so that you won't be late, you would wake up earlier, prepare earlier, 6 o'clock. So I I'm not saying that I am perfect. There are times that I am so late in class, but yeah, I I have been trained to wake up early to go to class at as early as 7:30. So why this is important? I'm talking in the context of my hometown, where right now the classes in grade school starts at 8 o'clock. So 1 hour later than during our time. So yeah, it matters. It matters a lot because it's if you don't have the proper training, and of course you are still a child, and it will depend on the mindset of all the adults also. So technically, in recent times, when your class is 8 o'clock, as a child you have the option to wake up at 7. So it's different than during our time where you have the classes is at 7 o'clock. So you would literally wake up earlier at 6. So that's the experience I had back in grade school. Then next is during high school, still the class is at 7 o'clock in our time. Again, in the recent times in my um, alma mater, Ateneo de Zamboanga University, the high school class starts at 8 o'clock or 8:30. Unlike during our time, it's at 7:30. And back in high school, I have also by experience being in the honors class. uh, our advisor, our moderator for the class, are so strict with regards to punctuality that you need to come in to school early. And also there are a lot of activities that in my alma mater that needs you to offer your time much early than the usual, like the school assembly, the flag ceremony, where you need to get to the school 6:30 a.m. despite the class starts at 7, and you are punished for not attending earlier in the flag ceremony. There since I I have my alma mater is a Catholic school. You need to go there earlier at times to especially when your class is sponsor for an early morning Eucharist or Mass celebration. So yes, and also we have this back in college, an English teacher, Ma'am Besagas, if I could recall her name. There is this topic about an early introduction to research paper making, term paper making, where we need to submit some writings as early as 6:30 in the morning. So that's a daily requirements during our fourth year. Fourth year. So yeah, those habits really ingrained to me for being punctual. Of course, passing those requirements earlier earns you credits, scores, higher scores. And being in an honors class, you know how important grades are to compete with other intelligent human beings. And when I went to college, the degree I chose the degree of nursing education, college of nursing in the same school, my alma mater, attended Zamboanga University. So, as nursing students, the structure of the nursing education is different. For the first part of the week, Monday to Wednesday, usually you go on an 8 hours duty in the hospital as part of your related learning experience. And you will go report for duty since you are in the hospital and still you are a student as early as possible, even earlier than what I have experienced back in high school and grade school. So as early as 7 a.m. Then, uh, since part of the curriculum is the related learning experience, the academic part where you the classroom education part of the course are constricted in the last 3 days of the week. So all the units are since all the units are constricted in just 3 days. So still the classes starts as early as 7:30. So nothing has changed. Unlike from other college degree, you have the option to start the class as early as late as 10 o'clock, or even you could choose to start your class as late as 4 p.m. or even do evening classes. So yes, since it's also constricted, that time is from it's a 12 hour long classroom experience. Like even though you are in college, but you still experience same straight R's for subjects that you experienced back in high school. So yeah, then as a Muslim, religious Muslim, actually it's just recently, there are also factors that could affect my punctuality. First of all, we Muslims, we wake up at early dawn before sunrise for the what we call the Fajr prayer, or the early dawn prayer. So part of the five pillars of Islam, part of the praying five times, the earliest time to pray is before sunrise at dawn. Then so yes, as a practicing Muslim, I really do wake up as early as 5. Yeah, you would wake up as earlier than the usual prayer to eat before you start your fasting. Um, some would ask, why not eat back in earlier before you sleep? Eat a lot, then you wake up for Fajar, then start fasting. At least the ruling, actually it's not the idea. The ruling is you are required to eat before you would do before your intention to fast. So yeah, this is for an entire year, 30 days of that yearly, you will wake up early to start fasting during the fasting month of Ramadan. So that's all. Then my experience back in medical school. So actually, um, there's a difference when you went out of college and go into a graduate school education or further education. There is this idea that since you have learned a lot, you during college, you value the time um, to take the opportunity to learn. How would I rephrase this? Back in college, although yes, we have an idea on what to do with our lives. Then graduating in college, if you are responsible sane enough, you know that what you have learned in college to climb the corporate ladder is not enough to compete with other college graduate. So the tendency is if you're responsible enough, you would go into further education and you learn a lot after college, that you need to invest time to study, to go early. You learn a lot back in college that even the act of going early would earn you points, credits to pass the subject. That's the psychological effect to the teacher when you show to him or her that you are committed in attending his or her class. So during the first few years in med school, I really literally go to school earlier, and despite having only two classes per day on average. Next is partly to um, financially I was struggling when I started med school. So partly to save expenses for transportation, since my siblings that time, younger siblings that time, are still college student and high school student. Um, they were my father would always bring them to school. I also joined them for class, despite having classes at 9 o'clock. I would join the ride with them to go to school. So in a way, I have saved for save money for that is intended for transportation. And yeah, also I've been a leader of during our community experience in med school. As a leader, we have this activity every morning in the community to do some physical exercising, which again, um, valuing the time of other people in the community, you would wake up as early as 5:30 to conduct the exercise program at early dawn. And then during the third year, that's the time where we go into clerkship. So as despite the official time as a medical student or even as a training physician, despite the time or official time in at 8 o'clock in the morning, as a physician, you need to go as early as 5 a.m. Um, to report for duty. Why? Why you as a physician you go training physician you go 5 a.m. Before the official time starts, you have a lot to accomplish from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. A lot of paperworks, a lot of rounds for surgical patient. You need to accomplish the dressing. In our place, we cannot just um, put all the efforts to the nurses assigned, because since in our training area it's a public hospital, the ratio of um, nurses and healthcare providers to the patient is really wide. So part of the training is that before the day starts, some things that you need to do are already accomplished at the early part of the day. So that's why, despite the official time in the hospital to be at 8 o'clock, you need to report as early as a training physician. You need to report as early as 5 a.m. in the morning. So this personally um, in um, this personally made me made part of my habit to wake up early, to go early, to work as earlier than the official time, because you need to accomplish a lot. Um, Now that I'm working, it's different because you have the option to go on time or even late. But during the training, it is a must that you need to go earlier, not just only 30 minutes early, not just only 1 hour early, but early as 3 hours early before the official time of the work starts. And as a student back then, um, you are you are punished for that being earlier, 3 hours earlier than than the official time. So it had helped me a lot. It developed the values of punctuality more in me. So even going to internship. So in in a sense, clerkship and internship still same banana. You work as a training physician, but the responsibility between clerkship and internship, it's more responsibility is given to you as a physician. So as now a practicing doctor in the rural community, I I'm not yet in the residency training program, because if you're in a residency training program, you need to experience those things again, going to early than to work than the official time. But right now, I'm working as a general practitioner. Technically, I can go on duty um, on time, the official time. But because the value of being punctual is ingrained within me, so I usually do my rounds earlier than my official time. So eventually, if I will go into residency, I'll be again forced. Right now, it's up to me to go earlier. But when I go into residency training program, it will be again forced to me to go earlier. Um, Challenges with these values. I have this value of having a good quality sleep, so it is a conflicting um, challenge with that value. But currently, how I manage it, the topic about good quality sleep as something of my priority will be in another video. But right now, the time that I was, first of all, since I'm working in a rural care facility, I literally live in the hospital premises. So the time to commute is out of the equation. Next is even the preparation time is still out of the equation. If for example only, not the usual, if for example I wake up right on time, 8 o'clock in the morning, the official time in this hospital, when I go on duty, I could literally step out of my doctor's quarters and go. Of course I would fix my hair, um, and go directly on duty, outside in the emergency room, just using my scrub suit and my blazer when become presentable. So, but in the usual times, what I do is I wake up for Fajar, even though I'm still sleepy, to pray. Then I would sleep again. I don't use alarm clock because I don't want to. I'll discuss this in my topic regarding sleep. I don't want to um, wake up without not completing my sleep cycles. So, but I usually wake up at 6:30, and after that I feel refreshed. So everything in between, from 6:30 to the 8 o'clock, I'll do my rounds, for the patients that admitted in my care, and I would also do some form of exercise, since having since being one of the only two doctors going on duty in this rural hospital healthcare facility. I had, as I previously talked in my previous video, I have my exercise equipment here in my room, uh, so that during free time, or even when I wake up in the morning when there is still no patient in the ER emergency room or in the outpatient department, I would do some form of exercise. Like currently, I wake up for prayer, then I would sleep again and wake up at 6:30, feeling refreshed. Then it depends what I would do. I could review text messages, chats for a while, just to uh, warm up my brains, then fix my hair, put on my scrub suit, then would go on doing rounds with my patients admitted in the hospital. So literally it will warm up my brain, since as early as 6:30 you would think what to do with the patients that are admitted. Then after that, there technically I have done a lot of uh, things as early as possible, with the because I wake up earlier than the usual, and with the time for commuting to work, since I literally live here, is also out of the equation. I really accomplish a lot. So this is all. That is all for this episode. uh, Thank you, and till the next video.